Trayodasi. We are very glad to have you with us on this special day and to hear about the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. And without any further delay, I will hand over to you, Hare Krishna.
Give me 10 seconds.
Okay.
I have to just take 2 tablets and then I'm ready. Oh. All right, Hare Krishna. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So first we'll read a little bit from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita from chapter number 5, which is entitled The Glories of Lord Nityananda, Balaram. So, the glories of Lord Nityananda Balaram. Vande Anantadbhut Vaishyam Shri Nityanandam Iswaram Yasyeche Tatsarupam Agena Nirupyate. Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity. Sarvavatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tardvitya Deha Shri Balaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Lord Balaram is his second body. Ekai Swarupdane Binamatrakaya Ajakaya Vyuha Krishna Lila Sahaya. These two are one and the same identity. They differ only in form. Lord Balaram is the first bodily expansion of Krishna, and he assists in Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes. Purport. Balaram is a Swamsa expansion of the Lord, and therefore there is no difference in potency between Krishna and Balaram. The only difference is in their bodily structure. As the first expansion of Godhead, Balaram is the chief deity among the first quadruple forms, and he's the foremost assistant of Sri Krishna in his transcendental activities. Swamsa means Swa-amsa. Amsa means part, and part and part, and Swa is his own, right? So his own part. Shri Krishna Navadvip Sri Chaitanya Chandra Shri Balaram Sangha Sri Nityananda. That original Lord Krishna appeared in Navadvip as Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram appeared with him as Lord Nityananda. Sankirsan Karanatoy Sai Garbhoda Sai Sapayupta Sai Shishashchayam Sakala Sanicha Nanda Kyarama Saranam Mamastu. May Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Seshanag, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karna ocean, Garbhodak ocean, and the ocean of milk are his plenary portions, and the portions of his plenary portions. Shri Balaram Gosai Mula Shankarsan Pancharupadari Karena Krishna Sevan. Lord Balaram is the original Sankirtan. He assumes 5 other forms to serve Lord Krishna. Apane Karena Krishna Lila Sahai Sisti Lila Kare Kare Dari Charikai. Love helps in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he does the work of creation or other forms. Sisti Adika Sevatara Agyat Palana Shesha Rupa Kare Krishna Vida Sevan. He executes the order of Krishna in the work of creation, and in the form of Lord Shesh, he serves Krishna in various ways. Purport. According to expert opinion, Balaram is the chief of the original quadruple forms, is also the original Sankirtan. Balaram, the first expansion of Krishna, expands himself in 5 forms. 1. Mahasankirtan. 2. Karnaksai. 3. Garbhadaksai. 4. Iridaksai. And 5. Sesa. These plenary portions are responsible for both the spiritual and material cosmic manifestation. In these 5 forms, Lord Balaram assists Lord Krishna in his activities. The first 4 of these forms are responsible for cosmic manifestations, whereas Sesha is responsible for personal service to the Lord. Sesha is called Ananta, or unlimited, because he assists the personality of Godhead in his unlimited expansions. See, Balaram is the servitor Godhead, who serves Lord Krishna in all affairs of existence and knowledge. Lord Nityananda Prabhu is the same servitor Godhead. Balaram performs the same service to Lord Gauranga by constant association. Sarvarupa Svadya Krishna Sivananda, say Balaram Gaura Sangha Nityananda. In all the forms, he tastes the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. That same Balaram is Lord Nityananda, the companion of Gaura Sundar. So let me see. We'll just stop here. Om Gyan Timanandasya Ganana Salakya Shakshurminitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So on this Transcendental Appearance Day of Lord Nityananda Balaram, we are appreciating, first of all, his tattva. It is said that on the appearance day of the Lord, first of all, we understand something about the tattva of the Lord. So here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we heard about that tattva, and it described to us how Lord Nityananda is expanding himself into the form of Lord Sankirtan, the Purusha avatar, and in the form of Shesha. And in the form of Shesha, he becomes all the personal paraphernalia of the Lord, the umbrella, he becomes the bed, he becomes the shoes, he becomes the plate. In this way, he is the direct personal servant of the Lord. And it's said in his thousands of mouths, he is endlessly glorifying the Lord. And so we pray to Lord Nityananda in his form of Ananta says, for the power to glorify the Lord. Nityananda is especially merciful. Nityananda is especially inclined to bestow his mercy on all kinds of men. Towards the end of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, the situation is there that in the Antya Lila, or Antya Kanda rather, of Chaitanya Bhagavat, there are a number of chapters dedicated to Lord Nityananda, and also the final chapter. And in the middle chapters of the Antya Kanda, it is described how Lord Nityananda is preaching in Panihati region and in Saptagram area, and how he dresses up in a blue dhoti and silks and multicolored turbans, and he is putting jewels everywhere. And in this way, he doesn't look like your regular renunciants. He's just dressing completely transcendental in the mood of Lord Balaram of the spiritual world. But in the final chapter, we find a description how some dacoits get attracted to not Lord Nityananda, but to all those jewels and all that opulence. And so they decided that they would attack the Sankirtan party and take all the jewels. So the leader of the dacoits, who was a Brahmana and intelligent, he said, well, some king must have given these jewels to him, and and we'll just take him on the dark moon night. So they were following Nityananda, and they were getting ready, and just on the dark noon night, they were lying in the bushes, waiting to come out in the middle of the night. Their weapons were sharpened, and they were ready for the attack. When they woke up and they had slept the whole night, it was already morning. And said like, oh, they all accused each other. What is this? You fell asleep and you. But everybody fell asleep. Said the leader. The leader said, such things sometimes happen. But look at those jewels. If it doesn't work the first time, it will work the next time. So we'll just continue until we are successful. That made sense. The second night, it was again a dark moon night. Everything seemed right. And then this time, Nityananda was staying in some house. And suddenly there were these big soldiers walking around the house and guarding the house. So the dacoits said, oh, look at that, those soldiers, that is serious. So they decided to not attack, but again, the leader of the dacoits said, he said, look, the king that gave the jewels to this renunciance, to this avadut, that king must have also given him some soldiers to protect him. But soon these soldiers will have to return to their master. Then we will attack. The third time, again, it was an auspicious dark night, just the kind of night you would really, you want to see when there's absolutely nothing you can see. Just on that night, the dacoits were ready. Their swords and daggers were sharp like a razor. And they were ready for action. And so, as they were in the bushes approaching Nityananda's residence, suddenly all of them became blind. So what to do? They were blind, and some of them fell in ditches, some of them walked in thorn bushes, and some even fell and broke their limbs. It was just a total disaster. And then, the leader of the dacoits started to think, how is this? And he suddenly, by the association with Nityananda, which he had got now on 3 occasions, he began to understand this effulgent personality, who's even more effulgent than the jewels that he wears. This personality is not an ordinary person. This person is actually transcendental. I tell you, this person is the supreme personality of Godhead. And suddenly he realized it. And all in his mind. And he realized that Nityananda is the Supreme Lord. Next moment, his eyesight came back as a confirmation. Well, Then he went before Nityananda and he just fell flat before Nityananda. And he paid his obeisances to Lord Nityananda. And so he became a disciple of Nityananda. And after that dacoit leader would go out and preach. And as he would go out to preach, he would regularly bring some dacoits. And people knew some of these people. And these real heavy guys with a bad reputation would come in, and everyone was like, oh. And then this dacoit leader, he would take him to Nityananda and say, bow down. And he'd make them bow down at the feet of Nityananda. And in this way, he made them into devotees. And it's very interesting how that dacoit leader uh, was naturally preaching to the dacoits. And so everyone has his own audience, natural audience. So in this way, we appreciate that the mercy of Lord Nityananda reaches the most fallen. Another example, right, is the story of when Vishwambar, Lord Chaitanya, was still a householder in Navadvip. And one day, as Vishwambar was walking there in his beautiful silk dhoti and with Ananta says becoming the Brahmin thread on his chest. And as he walked there, along with Lord Nityananda, one sannyasi came, and this sannyasi, he was so pleased. He was so pleased to behold both the Lords. He said, oh, please accept my blessings. And so the sannyasi bestowed his blessings and said, I bless you that you may live a long life, that you may get a beautiful wife, that you will get great wealth and always good health. Then Lord Chaitanya said, what kind of blessing is this? This looks more like a curse. Now, just see, the age of Kali. Now you see it with your own eyes, the symptoms of the age of Kali. Yes, I'm giving him blessings, and now what? Now he's, what do I get? I'm giving him some blessings, but no gratitude. Oh, the age of Kali. Nityananda said, this young man, because Nityananda was about 15 years older, so Nityananda says, this young man has a very difficult character. No one understands him, but I know how to handle him, So don't worry about him. He said, sir, I appreciate your offering. Said the sannyasi. Finally, someone who's intelligent. Yes. Yes, you must come to my house and take some fruits, take some prasad. I will take only fruits. Yes, fruit it will be. And so the sannyasi took both Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya along with him to his house. As the sannyasi came close to the house, the sannyasi's wife came out and said, Oh, you brought a guest for lunch. Oh, this is very nice. Yes. And they came in, and everything was arranged, and she had cooked everything or prepared the fruits, right? Because they're only taking fruits. So she brought it all out, and then he was serving it. And so he was serving both the lords. And then he says, you want some ananda? Yes, you want some ananda. Yes, I know you want some, isn't it? Yes. And then Lord Chaitanya said to Lord Nityananda, what is this? What is this ananda? And it said, Nityananda, who is familiar with the behavior of low-class men, he said, alcohol. And Lord Chaitanya jumped up right there and then and ran out of the house, and Nityananda jumped up and ran right after him, and both the lords, they ran towards the Ganga, and they jumped into the Ganga with their clothes on. It's an interesting story because you see, first of all, the sannyasi gave blessings, but they were material blessings. Um, it was long life, good wife, health, wealth. So that was not really uh, suitable for a sannyasi who should have given spiritual blessings. So Lord Chaitanya said, what kind of blessings are these? But Nityananda appreciated. What did Nityananda appreciate was not the actual substance, not the actual substance uh, of the offering, but Nityananda, because that was material. But Nityananda appreciated that the sannyasi had voluntarily, on his own accord, wanted to offer something to the Lord. And for that, Nityananda appreciated him, and therefore Nityananda came to the house and gave him mercy and took some fruit in the house. Then, when the sannyasi was unfortunately uh, falling prey to his regular ways and start to offer some ananda, then, okay, then Lord Chaitanya showed, now this is too much. Now it has come to the limit. This is not acceptable. And so, in this way, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda ran and jumped into the river Ganges. So in this way, both purposes were fulfilled. As Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya are the spiritual masters for the three worlds, they upheld the Vedic standards, and simultaneously they showed mercy and reciprocated with with any service offered, even by a fallen person. Uh, so just see how Lord Nityananda is ready to deal with even those who are fallen, even those who are not living by proper rules, proper standards. Um, and that, of course, is the very foundation. That is the very foundation of this movement. Uh, it was Lord Nityananda who was sent by Lord Chaitanya to go and preach in Bengal, because Lord Chaitanya was ordered by his mother to stay in Jagannath Puri. And it was Lord Nityananda who gave shape to the movement in this very liberal mood of chanting Hare Krishna and bringing in everyone and allowing everyone to partake. And all kinds of people joined. And it was not at all asked what they were following, what they were not following, what they were eating, what they were not eating, as long as they were chanting Hare Krishna. As long as they were chanting Hare Krishna. That was Lord Nityananda's objective, to somehow, so he was very liberal in bringing in people into his fold. Right? Later, uh, the six Goswamis in Vrindavan, they wrote down the transcendental literature and conclusions of the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And later, these two, the Vrindavan movement and the Bengal movement of Nityananda, these two came together. And in that way, yes, in that way, they were, that is the movement that we inherited. Uh, on the one hand, that very liberal mood of, a movement that brings in everyone. Uh, yes, even people who have no connection with Vedic principles, like us. Even people who came from ways of life that are considered fallen. A sannyasi was having some ananda. Well, who has never had any ananda in his life, right? That, then it's already a minority. There may be some, but it is a minority. Yes, most have had a little bit too much Ananda, if you know what I'm saying. That is the thing. And with it, so many other things, and so on. So, yes, what can we say? Huh? Patita Pavan. Huh? Patita Pavan, Gora Hari, Patita Pavan, Nityananda, the deliverers of the most fallen. Hmm. So this is an interesting point. Uh, um, and that makes it possible. So we can see that the liberal spirit of Lord Nityananda is, is still there. And we are still ready to accept people from any background. We're still ready to accept people who are coming from a sinful background. It is all right. But once they take up Krishna consciousness, sin no more. That is, of course, the message that also was given to Jagai and Madai. Sin no more. So let me see if I can read a little bit more now. Um, so next, I want to read a little bit from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Just a moment, I have to open it up on the phone. Writings of other acharyas. Here it is, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Anchakanda 5. Oh, 5, 6, and mhm. Okay, and now type in Nityananda. That's it. Oh. Mm. Yeah, so in this chapter, we get the Lord's order uh, for the devotees to go to Bengal. And of course, that order is very important, and we'd like to read more about that. And let's see. One day in Nilachala, Sri Mahaprabhu called Nityananda to a solitary place, and while discussing with him about the preaching of pure devotional service in Bengal, the Lord sent Nityananda along with his associates to Bengal to fulfill his mission there. During their journey to Bengal, the eternally perfect Vraja associates of Sri Baladev Nityananda manifested their self-evident sentiments of Vraja. Their mood, they became overwhelmed. And some of them went into the mood of Vrindavan and they just forgot everything else. So as they're moving along the road, they're absorbed in kirtan, and then suddenly one of them stands in the threefold banded form like Krishna and playing his flute, and the others are doing kirtan around him, and this goes on for many, many hours, 9 hours, and in such ecstasy, they moved here and there, and they just lost the way. It was not so easy to make it even to Vrindavan. Yes, this is the nature of. Okay, let's now see. Sri Nityananda Prabhu went to the house of Raghava Pandit in Panihati, where Nityananda heard a kirtan performed by the expert kirtan leader Madhava Ghosh and became absorbed in wonderful ecstatic love. As Sri Nityananda Prabhu climbed on the throne of Lord Vishnu, the devotees headed by Raghava Pandit performed the Lord's Abhishek ceremony. When Nityananda Prabhu ordered Raghava Pandit to quickly bring a garland of Kadamba flowers, Raghava saw that by the will of Sri Nityananda, many Kadamba flowers had blossomed out of season in the lime tree situated in his courtyard. Raghava Pandit prepared a garland from those Kadamba flowers and offered it to Nityananda. Shortly thereafter, the 10 directions were suddenly filled with the aroma of Damanaka flowers. And Nityananda explained that Sri Gaurasundar had put on a garland of Damanaka flowers and came from Nilachala to hear the kirtan. Ah, yes, it is true. It is said where Nityananda would dance, there Lord Chaitanya would appear. Ah, so now we see how nice, right? Uh, these miracles were happening. Huh? Here is Nityananda in the house of Raghava Pandit, and it becomes very transcendental there. And he sits on the altar and he is being worshipped as the Supreme Lord. And they are bathing his body and so on. And then he wants a garland of Kadamba flowers. And they happen to be growing on the lemon tree, right? You know, which is kind of, and anyway, because, Raghava Pandit says, we have no Kadamba flowers. And Nityananda said, no, have a look in the garden. And they were growing on the lemon tree. And then he picked them and quickly made a garland for Lord Nityananda. But then they smelled other flowers. Everyone knew the smell of Damanaka flowers. But only Nityananda knew where this smell came from the garland of Lord Chaitanya, who was also present there. We see the pastime happening of Panihati. So Panihati is where Raghunath Das Goswami came to meet Lord Nityananda. Raghunath Das Goswami was the son of a very wealthy zamindar family, landowners. And Raghunath Das had a great desire to join Lord Chaitanya's movement. But his family was not at all in agreement. So they were thinking of everything. So one day, his mother said to the husband, why don't we just tie him up, And the husband said, look, I got him the most beautiful wife. I got him all the wealth he could desire. If that couldn't tie him up, then do you think that rope can tie him up? He didn't know what to do. Anyway, so they allowed him some freedom, but not too much. And they always had made sure he was in company, always accompanied by a whole entourage of brahmanas and security guards to protect him, right? And meanwhile, with all this protection, he could not escape. And he had a desire. He had a desire to go and meet Lord Chaitanya. But he could not. He could not. Then Nityananda came to Panihati. And Panihati was very close to Raghunath's residence because Raghunath's residence was Saptagram, which is not far. So then Raghunath felt very strong that he wanted to meet Nityananda. And his father agreed, and a whole delegation of men went with Raghunath while he was meeting Nityananda. So it is at that time that Raghunath, as soon as he saw Nityananda at a distance, fell flat on the ground and offered his obeisances, and that Nityananda called him a thief and sent the people after him. And a whole group of people went after the thief, and they caught him, brought him before Nityananda, who said, you thief, now I got you. You have stolen away the opportunity for me to embrace you. I will punish you now. You will have to make a feast, right? A feast. And he made this feast of chip rice and yogurt and and other chip rice, condensed milk, bananas, and dried fruits, and so many other delicious things. And it was really like very, very tasty. Anyway, so the point is that Lord that Raghunath Das Goswami, he wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya, but he could not. Only after he got the mercy of Nityananda, then he could attain Lord Chaitanya. So this is a very important point, uh, that we have to go through Lord Nityananda. So how to go through Lord Nityananda? That is a question. All right, it's easy to say, yes, you must go to Lord Nityananda. You need the mercy of Lord Nityananda. But, how do we know we're going through Lord Nityananda? Uh, I mean, Nityananda is particularly the personification of devotional service. And so we must go through devotional service. That is actually the secret. Uh, Devotional service is the key. Because Nityananda is the natural servant of Lord Chaitanya. He serves him in every possible way. Nityananda, as we heard, he expands into all these forms. He's Seshanag, he personally serves the Lord. Nityananda even becomes the spiritual world. He's the Sandhini Shakti. So in this way, the existence potency of the Lord, whereas Radharani is the Ladini Shakti. So we are appreciating in this way the great potency of Lord Nityananda Balaram and how he is a servant. Therefore, uh, the secret, the secret of getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda means to serve, to take up devotional service. By taking up devotional service, we attract the mercy of Nityananda because that's what he does himself. So naturally, when he sees that we are taking up his mission of serving the Lord, his heart melts and he'll bestow his mercy upon us. So this is the key in spiritual life, the key to somehow or other get the mercy of Lord Nityananda by always serving Lord Chaitanya, by always serving the Supreme Lord, by being absorbed in devotional service. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is the representative of the mercy of Lord Nityananda, because that's what Prabhupada brought, pure devotional service. And Prabhupada engaged anybody in devotional service. And it's all about that. And not only in chanting Hare Krishna in the same way as Haridas Thakur, but rather also just in doing devotional service. And that was more realistic, that we can do practical things, that the computer programmer can do it for Krishna. The secretary can be a secretary for Krishna. The piano player can shift to harmonium and or guitar player and just lead a kirtan. Like this, everyone can can take up a service according to their abilities. And Prabhupada, he made that the he made that the essence of his movement, a most practical movement. Uh, Carry on with your life, but offer it to Krishna. No more sinful activities. Like Jagai Madai, no more sinful activities, but take up devotional service. Yena tena prakarena mana Krishna nivesayat, said Rupa Goswami. In whatever condition you are, somehow or other, chant Hare Krishna. This is the way. And like this, we appreciate very much this causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda. One reason why the mercy of Lord Nityananda is causeless is because Nityananda is known to be intoxicated and therefore doesn't make any distinction who is qualified or not qualified. He gives the mercy to anyone or everyone. Therefore, it is causeless. He gives it by his initiative. Jagai and Madai had no previous uh, piety or credits for getting the mercy. It was the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda. The very fact that we took up devotional service is also because of the causeless mercy. Uh, we did not do anything that warranted us to take up devotional service, but somehow or other, it came into our life, and here we are now. Uh, Here we are, having the ability to serve, and that is, and somehow or other, we we have our strong senses, we have our strong independent minds, we have weaknesses, but somehow or other we are able to rise above all these things, not on our own strength, but on the strength of the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Hmm. So Nityananda Prabhu is, it is in the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is described was a disciple of Lakshmi Pati Tirtha. Mm. I can read that for you. Just one moment. Mhm. Um, I had that somewhere today. I sent that to some devotees earlier on. So in Vrindavan, there is a place called Sringarvat, sometimes also known as Nityananda Vat. Look at this wonderful vat tree on the bank of the Yamuna. Everyone calls it Sringarvat. At this place, Lord Krishna would enjoy himself by dressing in various ways for the pleasure of Subal and the others. Some other people call this place Nityananda Vat. This is also correct. Please listen while I explain briefly how Nityananda came to this place. Nityananda Ram and Lord Chaitanya are one and the same body. Lord Nityananda was born in Radhadesh, in the village of Ekachakra Gram. His father's name was Harai Pandit, and his mother was Padmavati. To describe their affection for their son is beyond the power of my words. The son of Padmavati is always filled with the greatest ecstasy, manifested various pastimes at Ekachakra. He displayed for everyone the pastimes of the various incarnations in their different moods. The residents of Ekachakra were most fortunate as they accepted Nityananda Chandra as their life and soul. Lord Nityananda remained at home for 12 years, during which everyone's affection for him increased. However, who can understand the mind of Nityananda? He could not remain peaceful without Lord Chaitanya. One day he considered in his mind, it's not proper for me to go to Navadvip just now. Lord Chaitanya has appeared there and is presently is hiding himself as a child. When he discloses his identity to his devotees, then I will go to meet him. At present, I will go on pilgrimage. Thinking like this, Nityananda Prabhu smiled to himself. At that time, one sannyasi came to the village. He inquired from the people about where Harai Pandit lives. On understanding the location of Harai Pandit's house, the sannyasi went there. Seeing the sannyasi, Harai Pandit became very happy. He immediately brought many eatables and offered them to the sannyasi. The sannyasi, however, said, I have one request from you. If you accept my request, then only will I eat. Harai Pandit vowed to accept the sannyasi's request and proceeded to feed him. As the sannyasi was about to leave, he asked for Nityananda to accompany him. Nityananda, remaining peaceful at heart, saluted his parents and left with the sannyasi. In this way, he was In this way, he was able to leave his home. Who can understand his wonderful pastimes? Whoever sees the youthful Nityananda, whose beauty attracts the whole world, feels his eyes coolly refreshed. Wherever Lord Nityananda went, people came rushing to see him with agitated hearts. Majestically, walking like the best of elephants, Nityananda distributed the Lord's mercy to everyone. Just as he traveled in Dwapara Yuga in the form of Balaram, now he traveled in the same way to all the holy tirthas. While traveling to the south, he went to Pandharpur, where he saw the deity Vitalnath. In that village lived one sober Brahmana who was a godbrother of Madhavendra Puri. That Brahmana took Lord Nityananda to his house and offered him fruits and milk. The people of Pandapur were greatly fortunate. By seeing Nityananda, their lives became successful. Who can understand the Lord's mind? Seeing Vitalnath, Nitai remained there in seclusion. Then one day, by the invitation of the Brahmana, his guru, Lakshmipati, came there from a distant place. Lakshmipati was expert in all the Shastras, and he had many disciples with him who can describe the loving affection he had for his disciples, just as parents have for their child. Performing the most ancient rituals, which cannot be described in words, he was a well-known saint in the devotional path. Who can describe the glories of Lakshmipati, whose disciple was Madhavendra Puri? Madhavendra Puri was full of ecstatic love and devotion. Whoever remembers his name achieves all success. Iswarapuri, Rangapuri, and many others were his disciples. All the disciples of Madhavendra Puri in Bengal and Orissa were devotees of Lord Krishna, attached in pure love. Madhavendra was well known in the Madhva Sampradaya. He was an ocean of transcendental qualities, being very dear to Lakshmipati. This Lakshmipati stayed at the house of his Brahmana disciple and accepted his food there. He passed his time in Krishna Katha. Repeatedly, Lakshmipati told his disciple, "There is some special auspiciousness in your house. I've come many times to your house, but I've never felt such happiness in my mind. I think there's some great devotee here." The Brahmana replied, "Your mercy is very strong." By the desire of the Lord, the Brahmana did not reveal his presence. In this way, they spent the day in different topics. In the evening, while sitting in a secluded place, Lakshmipati sang the glories of Lord Balaram. With unflinching devotion, he prayed to Baladev with tears in his eyes, "O Lord, I'm the lowest sinful person. Please be merciful to me." By so doing, your fame will spread throughout the universe. After he offered these prayers, he fell to the ground, tears streaming from his eyes. The state of Lakshmipati cannot be properly described. He was very old, and in intense lamentation, he fell unconscious. He was unable to remain steady due to his profound loving ecstasy. Suddenly, by the will of the Lord, he fell asleep. Lord Nityananda, in the form of Balaram, appeared in a dream before the sannyasi. What wonderful beauty, defeating that of Cupid. His limbs defeated the beauty of a mountain of silver. His arms extended to his knees. His chest was broad, and his lotus eyes extended to his ears. His earrings attracted the minds of the whole universe. And at the left side of his waist, he kept a beautiful buffalo horn. His body was decorated with various ornaments. Indeed, nothing within the universe can compare to his beauty. His face defeats the beauty of the full moon. While speaking, unlimited nectar flowed from his mouth. Speaking slowly, he said, "My dear Lakshmipati, my heart breaks hearing your lamentation. O Lakshmipati, Krishna is the Lord of life, and you are his servant life after life." Lakshmipati, holding the lotus feet of Baladev, replied, "I pray that I will not have any differentiation like this in my mind." Hearing these words of Lakshmipati, Lord Balaram smiled and said, "In this village, one Brahmana's son has come in the dress of an Avaduta. He will become your disciple. With this mantra, you initiate him as your disciple." Lord Balaram then uttered the mantra in the ear of Lakshmipati, who on receiving that mantra became ecstatic, and thus bestowing his mercy, Lord Balaram disappeared. After rising in the morning, as the sannyasi was remembering the dream, Nityananda Prabhu appeared before him. Seeing the luster of Nityananda, Lakshmipati considered, "What a wonderful bodily effulgence! He cannot be a human being." Thinking like this, the learned sannyasi looked on Lord Nityananda's beautiful face with unblinking eyes. Falling on the ground, Nityananda offered his obeisances to the sannyasi, who quickly picked up the Lord and took him on his lap. Nityananda said to Lakshmipati again and again, "Please initiate me and deliver me." Hearing Nityananda's sweet words, the sannyasi was agitated and began to float in his own tears. Unable to disobey the order of Lord Balaram, Lakshmipati on that very day gave initiation to Lord Nityananda. After giving him the mantra, the sannyasi took the Lord on his lap and became overwhelmed. His body trembled in ecstasy. The most merciful Lord Nityananda is very dear to Lakshmipati. What is there he cannot do? He is himself the fully independent Lord. In this way, mm, mm, in this way, Lord Nityananda, the reservoir of love and well-wisher of devotees, increased the ecstasy of the whole Madhva Sampradaya. by becoming a disciple of Sri Lakshmipati. Lord Nityananda increased the ecstasy of his guru. Very soon after this, Lord Nityananda went to another place. Okay. Being bereft of Nityananda's association, that sannyasi became greatly agitated. Without speaking to anyone, he thought to himself, as night was ending, Lakshmipati fell asleep. In a dream, Lord Nityananda appeared before him. Seeing the Lord, the most sober Lakshmipati could not check his tears. Then Nityananda manifested his form of Lord Balaram before Lakshmipati. Seeing this, the sannyasi fell at his feet. Wet with his tears, the sannyasi said again and again, you have incarnated just to bewilder me. Lord Brahma doesn't know you. Others cannot know you. Only those whom you desire can know you. Why are you tricking me? I'm a most insignificant insect, a fool. Please show mercy on me, for I'm surrendering to you. Mm. Hearing the words of Sri Lakshmipati, the Lord again appeared as Lord Nityananda. Uh, and so this is from the Bhakti Ratnakar, and it describes how Nityananda became a disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha. Some are saying that Nityananda was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, but we take this account with a lot of detail from Lakshmipati Tirtha as authorized. Uh, Satyaraj in his book mentions that um, although Nityananda was initiated by Lakshmipati Tirtha because Madhavendra Puri was his senior godbrother, he treated him with so much respect, like he would respect a senior or a spiritual master. So in this way, we also see how Lord Nityananda, um, as a disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha, is a yes, is of a previous generation uh, to to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spiritually, um, but the relationship between them is never governed by externals. The relationship between them is always governed by their transcendental relationship. Just as it is said, one is born in Radhadesh and the other one is born in Navadvip, but uh, we are worshiping them as two brothers. Um, because on the transcendental platform, they're Krishna and Balaram, and so they are two brothers. And therefore, Gornitai are considered to be two brothers. And we are always looking upon them in this way. So I'm going to wind it up. I can take one or two questions, and then I have a next engagement. I have a kirtan in the Radhadesh temple now. So if anyone has a question, then I'll try to answer. I'll quickly look on the chat box to see if there is one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't see a question then, just a comment. So that is very nice. Does anyone have a live question? Otherwise, we'll just thank you for offering your flower. And otherwise, we'll just continue our absorption. Um, I'll be now on the. So I want to thank the Berlin devotees for organizing this Zoom and for giving me the opportunity to say a few words glorifying Lord Nityananda. I will go to the Radhadesh temple. I think that link has already been posted for those who are interested, and to follow the kirtan now. So
Thank you
thank.
very much, Maharaj. It was very nice to have you with us. And for those of you who have not yet had the opportunity to see the link, it's now on the chat box. You can if I'm not mistaken, I've been informed that it will be on the Radhadesh channel of Mayapur TV. So this was very nice to hear the pastimes of Lord Nityananda from you. And we hope to see you again soon, not only here on this channel, but yeah, otherwise we'll be hearing your kirtan in a few minutes. But yeah, let's hope to see each other again. This also goes to all those devotees who have joined us. Thank you very much. It was very nice to have your virtual or digital association. Yeah, you can join us next week on Wednesday evening for a Bhagavad Gita class if you want, at 6:30 Europe. No, what is it? 7 p.m. Central European time. And next week it will be Ramananda Gopal Prabhu, the Pujari of the German farm, who will be speaking about the Bhagavad Gita, a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So this was Nityananda Trayodasi 2021. Thank you very much. And have a good night. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Radhe Radhe Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.